Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. This is Amanda Ellis, and this is my part one of the 2024 New Year predictions. I had promised you something for New Year's Eve, so true to my promise, I'm going to be delivering that today. Apologies that my voice isn't quite there. I've been unwell over Christmas, and I'm still recovering, actually. So I'm not quite there yet, but I didn't want New Year's Eve to go by without putting something out. I'm lucky in that Archangel Metatron had given me quite a lot of information and things to be talking about, which I wrote down handily in my little black book about 2 weeks ago. I just didn't have the time to record the video. So I'm going to be referring to that book and what he asked me to talk to you about in this video. So if you want to just settle down, you might want to grab a pen and some paper. Definitely get a drink. I'm actually just on water, a bit boring, but anyway, got to get well. Also would like to say that I know 3 people that lost their mother. Their mother passed over the last week or so. Seems to be a lot of passings at the moment. Of course, not just mothers, but it's quite something when it's 3 mothers, one after another. So the loss of the matriarch energy for some, but you know, we soldier on, don't we? And I send my love and my sympathy to anybody that's experienced any type of loss over this holiday period, be that a mother or anybody else that you love in your family, your friendship group, etc. Okay, let's get to 2024 then, shall we? And I'm being shown in my mind's eye by Metatron. It's a bit like that scene from, what was it called? Chariots of Fire. And there's a scene at the end where the runner is going to cross the line, but it's all very much in slow motion. Everything is very slow, and you just see him running in slow motion as he gets towards the line. And that's how I feel right now as we're approaching 2024. It's as though everything has slowed down, not just because I've been unwell, but actually I think being unwell has brought some huge lessons actually in terms of the energy for next year. Because one of the things I'm going to be talking about in this video is the numerology of 2024, before we get into more of the predictions and the guidance and the support that I believe Spirit wishes to give you. But we can't get away from the numerology of next year. 2024 adds to a number 8. 8 is about many things, and we're going to be discussing that in this video, but it's very much tied into the planet Saturn. And Saturn is slow and heavy, but gets the job done, okay? A brilliant teacher energy, a brilliant energy to help us complete tasks, get through whatever we need to be getting through, but definitely slow and steady wins the race. So some of us, myself included, have definitely had a preview of this Saturn energy that I want to say is lumbering in, but I'm now being shown the energy of the elephant. So again, the elephant as an animal symbol holds extraordinary power and weight and presence, but it's not necessarily the fastest mover in the jungle if you compare it to something like the jaguar. So we're entering the energy of this slower, steadier, more methodical, more thorough, more practical energy. And that's very much at odds with a world and a society which is fast, quick, and I'm not saying that there aren't still going to be lots of things arising through 2024, because there absolutely are. There's a lot of fire energy. One of the visions that Metatron gave me this morning when I was just tuning in before this video was I was seeing the planet, and I just saw all this steam coming off the planet, just a lot of steam. And I tried to go into it and ask him about it, and he wasn't giving me anything more than just seeing the steam arising off the planet. Now, as a channeler, as an intuitive, it's sometimes important just to deliver the message rather than try to make sense of it, because when we try and make sense of it at a human level, we can sometimes get it wrong. So I'm just going to give you that as we enter 2024, and he's saying it will make more sense as we go through the year. But he's saying to me that it takes a while for something to get ahead of steam. So it may very well also be an implication of the fact that 2024 for us personally might start off slower than we wish to, but we will build up ahead of steam as we go through the year. I'm seeing a huge division between what is going to be going on out there, as it were. News, stories, events, things happening one after the other, very quick-paced. But I'm then also seeing our own personal spiritual journeys I'm actually hearing the word forced to slow down more. So it's almost as though he's showing me two track lines now. Imagine if the world was just go, 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 as it is, fast pace, fast pace, fast pace, and we were matching it. We would basically just run off a cliff. That's sort of the energy that I'm getting. Whereas actually, as light workers, if we can try to slow it down a bit, we actually counterbalance this out of control, frantic energy that is also in the collective. So it's really interesting energy. On one hand, it's very fast. On the other hand, it's more sort of, I'm seeing like an old steam engine, just very slow and steady and methodical. And the ones amongst us that are going to win next year and are going to be successful are the ones that are not first out of the trap, as it were, running for, everything that they've got. They are the ones that are going to win, are the ones that build up this head of steam in a slower, more thought through, more considered way, and they're actually going to be the people who are able to catch the sunbeams I'm hearing and the moonbeams and the frequencies that are going to produce the greatest rewards in 2024. Because 2024, as a numerological number 8 year, is absolutely about success. One of the things that I've got here on a little grid for myself, and I would encourage all of you to create a little grid for yourself to welcome in the new year, and put onto it items, oracle cards, sayings, a mission statement that you want to be creating for next year. One of the things I've put onto it is money, because you can do a lot of good with money. This is the thing. You don't want money for money's sake, but money can help build something that you can do great things with. So in this, to me, this money that I've put onto my grid also represents me placing a bet upon myself. So I'm encouraging you to place a bet upon yourself, which is that I'm betting myself that I can do what it is that I set out to do, that I can achieve what I set out to achieve. Now, there was a really good quote that I saw yesterday from Stephen Bartlett, and I screenshotted it, so I'll just get it up. But it was very much in line of not so much a New Year's resolution, but it's more like a commitment that we make to ourselves that is achievable, that we are going to do, but needs that methodical, practical, Saturnian energy to bring it about. And the quote is this. Let me see. It says 6 months, it might not be his quote, but it's an unknown quote. It says, 6 months from now, you're going to look back at your life and say, I really did believe in myself and it worked. So I'm placing a bet on myself that I can do that. I would like you to do the same. This is obviously an energetic, symbolic bet. It's not actually gambling per se. Right, let's get to then the numerology, and let's talk a little bit about this. So I've said that 2024 adds to 8, links to the planet Saturn. Now, last year's energy, 2023, linked to the planet Neptune. Neptune, as we probably all know by now, it was linked into water, the subconscious, fluidity, flow, and had the colour green and blue. Now, Saturn is very different. I'm talking here about the colour numerology of Saturn. Saturn as a colour is violet. We'll come to that in a moment. But it definitely leads us to think about the higher realms, the spiritual realms, and also very much about being of spiritual service. How can we be of spiritual service in 2024? And how can we do that in a very sustained way, in a committed way, in a way that is robust and that it has legs, that it can actually endure, that we don't burn ourselves out, but that we give to communities, the collective, our families, ourself, that which we are able to and that which is worth giving. I think if we're honest, if we look around, for example, at social media, we can see a lot of people offering a lot of stuff. But actually, sometimes when you really dig into it, there isn't a depth or gravitas or any great wisdom or any great meaning behind a lot of it. It's almost like just filler energy. So we don't want to be doing that. We want to be providing something worthwhile. Now, being of service, of course, doesn't mean that you have to become a healer. It can be that whatever is in your heart, whatever you're passionate about, whether you want to paint, whether you want to write, whether you want to garden, whether you want to build, whether you want to create a project or a business, but it's about having higher purpose for it. You're doing it for a higher purpose, not just for yourself, not just for this, but building something worthwhile for the collective, for legacy, etc. So that's very much linked into this violet energy of Saturn. One other thing I'd like to say about the colour violet is it links into the energy of balance. If you think about how violet is created, we have the energy of purple or blue and red. And so it's balancing the hemispheres of the brain. It's balancing, it's asking us to balance our masculine, our feminine side. It's asking us to balance our spiritual selves and our physical selves. So if one of those has maybe you've prioritized more, then the other is going to come up for healing and attention and acknowledgement in 2024. You might be being asked to work more on your body, on your physical self, on your diet, your fitness, for example, or if you've been very much only honing that and working on that, working more on your spiritual self, but it's getting the balance right, because violet is all about balance. Also absolutely balancing the ego and the spiritual, but we could go on and on about the colour violet and what it is there to help teach us. But more than anything, it's a colour of service. It's a colour of being in loving service. So hopefully we're going to see more light workers stepping up to the plate, more people being called to do work for humanity, more people being called to do work for the planet, more people being called to do work for animals, for children, for all of the things that when we look round at our world, we know need addressing, we know need support and help. And I feel that through 2024, more people are going to be hearing that call. Some of them might come via big wake-up call energies. Others, it's more going to be a gentle nudging because you already know that you're here for a greater purpose. And this is the year to put it into action. But as I say, remember, Saturn is this slow, methodical, steady, making sure all of the foundations are secure before you then build and you build and you build. But definitely it's a year of work, okay? It's a year of work. Now, this might be something that certain generations struggle with more than others. Certainly for some of us born of maybe a different generation, we grew up with quite a hard work ethic anyway, so it's not necessarily going to be an issue to get stuck into a new project, a new business, to just put your head down and do some work. But I think for others, it might be a bit more of a shock to the system. This is going to come about also via economic issues. I'm seeing people having to do more than one job, maybe juggling different jobs, changing job, learning new skills, acquiring new talents, but more than anything, sometimes from a place of necessity as well, because with the advent of AI, which is now well underway, of course, many jobs are changing and we're needing to learn new ways and new methods and new skills. So definitely into the workforce in 2024 is going to come new technologies, new skills, and it's going to require us to learn to work with them. I'm also hearing the energy of working with man and machine. So more of that coming in. What else do I want to say about Saturn? The Saturn energy can be heavy unless you learn how to unload and to delegate and to ask for help. So if we think of the tarot, the 10 of Wands is a good description, I feel, sometimes of that Saturnian energy, which can feel quite heavy and as though we've got everything to do and no help available to us. But that's an illusion, because the next card on from the 10 of Wands, of course, is the Prince of Wands, who has all of this dynamic energy. He's very free, he's motivated, he's wanting to go and do whatever he wants to do. So how do we get from the 10 of Wands to the Prince of Wands type energy? And really, it's going to come in via teamwork, as I said, delegation, and definitely the power of community and collaboration. So I encourage all of you to sink more deeply into the power of community, into the power of collaboration, into the power of delegation. And when we are being asked to delegate more and to unload more, to ask for help, that can bring up a lot of wounding that we have within ourselves, which is about control, control keeping us safe, that I can't do that because then I'm not in control. Well, and control can be a very Saturn energy as well. But again, it's finding the right balance so that you have your boundaries, you're in control of the areas of your life that you need to be, but you're also able to surrender, sink into help, sink into delegation, sink into teamwork, invoke the right people around you as well to help you with a particular project or in your family. So all of that is coming up as well. In terms of Saturn, another thing I would like to say as well is that it always links back to father stuff. So I don't know whether I've been a little bit ahead of the curve. Sometimes as a teacher and somebody who's got a platform, I've found that I've had an upgrade or an experience that's been a little bit ahead of the curve. And I only realise it in retrospect. And it's almost as though I received that gift and that upgrade so I can then tell you about it, to give you hope and to show that it can actually be done. So I'm not going to go into story about my father in this video and things that have happened in the past and all the rest of it. But all I would say is that just before Christmas, and I have mentioned this a little bit, but what I haven't, I mentioned a little bit of his struggle in my last video, but what I want to say in this video is that there's been the most extraordinary breakthrough in our relationship over the last 2 months. It is better than it's been in years, well, decades actually. I've just broken through. It's like the Chariots of Fire type energy again. We made it to the finishing line, and we've broken through whatever the barrier was, whatever the energetic interference was, whatever the misunderstandings were, whatever the issues were that were real. And it's liberation, it's freedom, it's so beautiful. And I'm telling you that because I feel as though I have experienced it to cheer you on, basically. If you have relationship difficulties with your father, or if it's not your father, father figures. So in particular, authoritarian figures maybe in society. It could be showing up as a male boss, or it could be that you're married to somebody who fathers you or is a template of your father. They say often that women are attracted to people who have energy similar to their father in terms of things about them, in terms of their makeup, their characteristics. If you had a very cold father, you might be attracted to a very cold husband, that type of thing. But it's a way to work through those energies again. I really feel that 2024 is the year where we are able to do some profound healing on the father wound. And one of the ascended master energies that I would like to bring in to help us in 2024, I'm going to be referring to him many times probably through the coming year, is Joseph. Joseph, the father of Jesus. Now, those of you that have my sprays, you may very well have tried the Joseph spray already, but it's called Beloved Joseph, Divine Protector, and it has this energy of humbleness, softness, gentleness. It feels as though it's a template for the divine masculine, the new divine masculine. It's for fathers who know how to father. It's fathers who know how to father other people's children as well. And what I mean by that is seeing the child in the street that is hurt, that needs help, realizing that every child needs that parental type care, that love that a father gives. So we're going to be turning to Joseph quite a lot, I feel, through 2024. Let's just spray this now and see for any message that wants to come through just today before we move on. Okay, I feel that they're coming. And what I mean by that is I'm seeing a wave of awakened men, basically, who are standing up for the rights of children, for childhood, for governance, for doing the right thing, for protection. It's going to be a really beautiful wave. We're going to see more and more of it, but it's going to be set against a wave of another type of man that's going to be very visible through 2024, which isn't so pretty. But, you know, look out for the divine masculine energies that are coming in that are going to be shining lights through next year. They're going to be more and more visible. It's going to be really beautiful to see that. But definitely father stuff's going to be coming up next year, and I will look at that in future videos. And it's going to bring up issues such as control and versus discipline. I've also written down here practical assistance. I think I said that. Looking out for each other. Oh, role modelling as well. Role modelling. There's going to be more role models that we see in society where we can be proud of the template that they're laying down for society. Okay, I've also written down here, Metatron gave me a 4-year period of growth from 2024 to 2028 in particular. So it seems to be that next year heralds in the start of this 4-year period of extraordinary transformation and growth. He's giving me the example of growing pains. I remember having growing pains as a child, and they can be really painful, but they're there for a purpose in that they actually stretch you. They help you to grow. We are going to be stretched. We are going to grow as a species. And whether we like it or not, I'm hearing. So it's going to be messy, it's going to be painful, it's going to be difficult in places. But again, the more that we can keep our feet and remain rooted and grounded and tuned into the positive role models that are out there, the highest degrees of light, we will be okay. So let's see, what else have we got? I'll do a whole video on the Chinese New Year, but I will just say at this outset that 2024, the Chinese New Year, I believe, starts on the 10th of February, and it's going to be the year of the wood dragon. So there's a few things that come up to me with that. Number one, I feel that I have the perfect spray for 2024 because I've already talked about Saturn being linked into the energy of violet. And now we have the dragon energy coming in with the Chinese New Year. You know where I'm going with this, don't you? We have a violet dragon. Okay, so we have a violet dragon. So you're going to be seeing this one a lot again if you follow my channel through 2024. Violet dragon. And this is a master clearance spray, and it also says a danger defense spray. So what this does is it's like a heads up. It helps to clear the path through the year ahead. And I feel as though this dragon's going to be both a transmuter of lower energies, but it's going to help to clear our path so that we can complete the tasks and the projects and the goals that we have set a bet on that we're going to be able to do this year, without interference, without the blocks that are going to be coming up otherwise. So the dragon clears the path. Let's just spray the violet dragon now. And I'm seeing it whipping through the air, okay, whipping through the air at very fast speed. Because the dragons can both walk on the land and they can fly in the air, but I'm seeing this very much airbound. I feel as though this might be linked in also to some work that I'm going to be doing in 2024 on chemtrails. So I'm not going to say any more about that in this video, but I feel as though the violet dragon is definitely one to help us transmute that. But yeah, Chinese New Year is the year of the wood dragon. Wood is very much linked in Chinese medicine to detoxing. So again, detoxing the body, detoxing the planet. I firmly believe that the sheer number of people that have been unwell over the Christmas New Year period, including myself, it's been a massive detox, massive detox. I think the stats in the UK was 1 in 24 people in the country had the virus the week before Christmas, which is when I got it as well. So that's quite a high percentage of the country. And that's a good old detox as well. So detoxing, letting go. Again, it's the body, isn't it? Just anything we can do to help our body to find equilibrium in a world which is becoming increasingly chaotic is good. Okay, let me see what else I've written down here. I also wanted to mention, I have a little bit briefly about 8 being linked into abundance and success. If we think about number 8 also being linked into the infinity symbol, keep that in mind at all times through 2024 as well, because the infinity symbol is linking you and God as one. And if you're doing it for the right reasons, if you're saying it for the right reasons, if you're showing up for the right reasons, if you're trying to manifest for the right reasons, is God in it? Okay, and what I mean by that is the heart in it, is love in it, is what you are wanting and searching for and trying to seek. Has it got love at its core? Are you doing it for the right reasons? Okay. And I've written down here, can there also be successes where we least expect it? And I would like to go back now in terms of, for example, the father wound that I was talking about, that success that's come in right at the end of 2023 with me and my dad is so unexpected, so unexpected. In fact, years ago, I remember having a astrological reading with somebody, and I remember them saying to me, I'm not saying they were wrong, but this is the point. We are master magicians. We're master manifestors. We're able to change anything. But I remember this person saying to me, you probably are not going to be able to heal this in this lifetime with your dad. And it always stayed with me. And it feels as though, I'm not saying everything is 100% perfect, but it's a good chunk of the way to healing it. So can there be successes where we least expect it? I would like you to hold in your heart that yes, there can be, okay? Yes, there can be. So think about where you really do not expect success to come in. Maybe you've had, a dry love life. Maybe you have no money in the bank. Maybe you've never been able to make a success of yourself at work. Maybe you've never been able to stay in work very long. The list is endless, but what is the most unlikely thing that you could make a success of this year? And could you try and reframe it in your mind that in an 8 numerological year, that success is guaranteed if we dance with the divine, okay? If we dance with the divine. And what I mean by that is that we seize the opportunities that are there. We are able to intuit when is the time to move, when is the time to pause, when is the time to be still. We don't fight it. Whatever it is, whether it's illness, whether it is your house not selling, whether it is the fact that the new job isn't arriving yet, whether it's love hasn't arrived yet, it's like not fighting it, knowing that in a world and a universe that is kind and generous, believe it or not, that actually these gifts want to come your way, but you've got to stay in this energy of abundance and manifestation and success through 2024. So any energies of victimhood, poor me, never happens to me, you firmly need to leave those at the doorway of 2023, okay? So victimhood has no place in 2024. It's a year for those who have the courage and the bravery to go for their dreams, no matter what, okay? No matter what. Remember the 2 track lines that I was talking about at the start of this video, that no matter what, the world is still going to be doing crazy things. Leaders are still going to be doing crazy things. There's still going to be a lot going on that we don't agree with, we don't like, that we disapprove of, etc., agendas, all the rest of it. That's all still going on. Events, stories, propaganda, all of that's still going to be going on. But set against that is just this steadiness, this groundedness, this wisdom of those that are choosing to hone into the higher aspects of 2024, where success can be guaranteed despite this craziness that's going on there. But it's going to be very important that you don't get hooked in too much to this other crazy town timeline, is what I want to call it. Crazy town timeline. And lots of people are hooked in already, the latest installment, the latest bit of fear porn, all of that. It's going to be really important to, on Metatron saying on a weekly basis, to de-hook yourself from it. And that actually means literally de-hooking yourself, taking yourself away from places, people, channels, narratives that are not doing you any good, okay? So that's just one thing. Now, a few other random things that I've written down. As I say, some of this information came in a couple of weeks ago and I haven't had time to fully go back in yet to a lot of it, but I'm just in part 1. I'm going to bring up a few things. I was shown the Olympics. Now, I'd actually forgotten that the Olympics is happening next year, but I was shown the Olympics and I have looked it up, and the Olympics, the Summer Olympics are going to be happening in Paris, and they are the 33rd summer one. This is going to be a very highly charged Olympic Games. Look out for the symbolism, which is going to be massive in terms of intention, in terms of control. I see the Olympics as being very highly charged, a real light versus dark energy. Definitely potential for all sorts of chaos, potential violence also to happen, but cancel, clear, delete. We don't want to bring that in. But it doesn't look straightforward at all. I'm feeling that the whole Olympics itself at the moment, tuning into it, feels as though it's under a big cloud. Now, that can change, and what we need to be doing as light workers is envisioning it going as well as it possibly can, without any control and parameters in terms of what that even means, just that it goes as well as it possibly can. I'm seeing lots of camps coming in to stir up trouble around that time, knowing that France will be in the spotlight. And I don't know, I just haven't got a particularly positive feeling about it. So look out for the Olympics. Again, it's that 33rd energy, which can be used for good. It can also be used for the opposite. So this is what I mean about highly charged, light versus dark. It could go either way. We obviously want it to go the best that it can. So we need to build up a head of steam to help that happen, to surround Paris, to surround the athletes, to surround the leaders of it in gold, and success and joy more than anything. Okay, so again, I'll come back to the Olympics nearer the time. Got another 6-7 months before that actually happens. Okay, USA election, I'm going to do a separate video on. One thing I was told by Metatron, which is quite interesting, hold on, is I personally believe that often the person who is elected on either side are actually effectively a form of puppet, not meaning to offend anybody, but that's what I'm being shown. And that these puppets effectively, which is not just USA, but many other countries, do the bidding of a higher cartel. And in particular, one of these cartels is the war cartel, okay? As well as others. Now, so if you believe that, as I know many of you probably do, that the people that are elected effectively are puppets who are doing the bidding of unseen forces that are higher up, that never get called to account yet. So they put in their person that they want in, and they get their 4 years or whatever, and then somebody else gets put in. That's a very standard thing that many people believe is happening. But this is the bit that I found interesting that Metatron said to me. He said that the dose that gets put into whichever candidate is put in power via the ascension process is going to get weaker every single election. So imagine it this way, that whoever it is, I'm not even going to name names, but whoever it is that they want to put in, that gets put in, effectively that person has a form of darkness seeded within them, so that the war hawks, for example, can make sure that when it comes to the time when war needs to be activated again on this planet, which is one of the main things that keeps us out of New Earth, this president or prime minister, whoever it is, will obey, will go along with it. So that darkness has been seeded within them. But what Metatron is saying is the dose that gets given, it becomes weaker through the years. And it gets weaker because basically light is winning. That theory does rather present whoever it is as some sort of vacuum, really, for other people's ideas and other people's energy and other people's intentions, but it is what I'm being shown. I'm not saying that every single candidate is like that, but certainly some of them are. I was also given this analogy with regards to USA, not necessarily with regard to politics, but just generally society. But I think many countries could probably resonate with this. So I was given the analogy of the dentist, okay? So I'm just reading what I've written. So it's about dark versus light. So the dentist analogy, Metatron says, as we drill down, the diseased root comes out. And as the diseased root comes out, we need to watch for contamination. So if you've been in the dentist and you've had any type of work done, even if it's just like a filling's fallen out, or there's a bit of rottenness or a diseased root or something like that, it's not a very pleasant experience, because the dentist has to go in, he has to get all of that decay out. And sometimes it's like you can taste it. It's like it's in your mouth. It's a horrible sensation. But what happens is that they're sluicing it with water all of the time, aren't they, to cleanse it. So whatever is coming up is cleansed by the water. And even though we're not in a water year, 2024 is not a water year, I'm still feeling that the theme of water is going to continue through, particularly the first quarter of 2024. What I mean by water as a theme continuing, I'm talking about flooding, I'm talking about all of the water events, the rain, the everything that we've been seeing basically through 2023. So that dentist analogy, though, if you think about that in terms of anything that's going on in the world, anything that's coming up to be revealed, to be disclosed, and it becomes more and more unpleasant, more and more unpalatable, more about like I don't want to look at it. Just know that the waters are helping to disperse all of this, are helping to reduce the levels of contamination effectively. So I got that as well. I was also given the raven for America as a symbol, power animal symbol. And for all of us, in terms of an animal, I was given the scarab. Hold on, sorry, that was a crystal falling. I was given the scarab beetle. Now, scarab beetles often linked into ancient Egypt. And I'm just reading here, powerful symbols of rebirth, resurrection, transformation and growth. People who wore scarab amulets did so also for good luck and protection. The bodies of the dead were adorned with scarab beetles to ensure that they could travel safely to the afterlife and move on to the next world. I believe that the scarab beetle is also linked into the sun god Ra and the sun. So again, the symbolism of the sun. But definitely the beetle and the raven and the dragon seem to be the animals at the moment that are sort of showing their heads. Right, I want to move on to a few cards now, and I would like to show you one card here. Now, before I did this video, I was just tuning in, and when I was shown firstly the head of steam around the earth, okay, and then what I did was I'm going to go back into this now. I asked Metatron to land me in 2024, literally as though I'm like a spaceman who's just arrived on planet Earth, who's never been here before, and it's a bit like the Doctor Who, and it's like you open up the TARDIS, what year is it? It's 2024. So what I was being shown was a desert type scene with nobody there. But the reason why nobody was there, so I'm like a lone visitor to this planet. I'm looking for where is everybody? And where they are is in a far off city or a far off town or a far off place, but it's on fire. I just see lots of flames, and it's as though the attention is all there. and there's this big walk towards it. Now, I came out of the vision and I realised that it reminded me of a card from a particular deck, which from the Japaridze tarot deck, and it's this one, which shows a man holding a lantern, and he's just looking, and in the distance there is a fire on the heathland, on the hills. There's also a little bridge, there's a red bridge, and he's sort of trying to decide what to do. Now, when I actually look at the meaning of this card, it's the Two of Fire in this particular deck. It talks about this. It says, a man pauses in his journey and stands contemplating a far-off town ablaze in flames against the night sky. In his right hand, he carries a lit lantern, and it is unclear whether he's heading away from or towards the burning village. It's equally ambiguous if the fire he bears generated the distant conflagration or was instead ignited from it. This is the bit that's interesting. It says, this card has much to do with gathering, harnessing, and directing energy. It talks about personal power, a choice of or change in direction, confidence in a journey of discovery, and a solid foundation. But this thing about it's got to do with gathering, harnessing, and directing energy. Are you going to join the baying mob, basically, the baying mob? Are you going to add to the fire? Or are you going to be this figure that is learning how to master his own energy, despite, as I say, all of the chaos that is going on around us? We need to be that person, basically. We need to be that person. And indeed, when I look at the number 8 again, that 2024 is a number 8 year, what I did, what I thought would be interesting, is to pull out the 2 cards, number 8 from the Christ Consciousness deck and number 8 from the Metatron deck. Number 8 from the Metatron deck looks very like this Two of Fire card. This is the card of leadership, okay? It's the card of leadership. And it's somebody, again, very solitary, similar colours, standing in front of this staircase. They're not holding a lantern, they're holding a torch. So the symbolism is the same, but the fire energy is just being carried slightly differently. But they are, they also have a keys in their other hand. So they have keys and they have a torch and they have a staircase that is leading them. And it says, answer the call. So again, this energy of needing to lead, needing to turn away from the crowd, for the crowd are lost, needing to become your own person, needing to be sovereign, knowing that there are parts of society that are hell-bent on destruction and chaos and violence at this present time, but you don't have to join them. You can lead a different type of charge. Now, the next card that comes in from the Christ Consciousness deck, card number 8, is the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit. And it says, work through me. Holy Spirit, work through me. Can you see where the guides are going with this? They're asking you to step away from the games that are being played, the division that is being seeded. We're being played, basically. We're being played. And instead to allow the Holy Spirit to work through you to show something different. This card also from another deck says, dance with the divine. And it says the spirit crane. And it's got this beautiful bird, golden bird, a bit like the Holy Spirit bird here. And the bird is able just to weave through. It's able to find a way through. It's able, and I don't know if you can see the card, but there are depictions of ancient temples, ancient buildings. This is something that we've done before. We can do again. When it all gets very messy, it gets very noisy, it gets very chaotic, it gets very hateful. that is when the true leaders and the true heroes arrive. And that includes you as the hero. It includes you as the leader, because you are the hero and the leader of your own story, okay? You're being asked to create a powerful narrative through 2024 against all odds, basically, against all odds. And there's going to be plenty of people out there who tell you that you can't do it, you won't do it, not this year. You know, this is the year that you can do it, that you can push through. I'm also being told by Metatron, and again, this goes back to the Saturnian type energy. Saturn is also linked into duty, but it's linked into responsibility. And I believe that those who have positions of power, and this isn't just political power, this is people on social media channels, it's people who are influencers, it's people who are writers. I just want to use the word influencers, really, because that covers a whole range of types of people, including musicians, including rock stars. It's as though without responsibility, there's going to be some real falls from grace, okay? Because it's as though if you're not acting in a responsible manner, in a heart-centered manner, in a way, remember the infinity symbol, you and God together delivering something for the world that is beneficial, that is hopeful, that is positive. It feels as though there's going to be a lot of people found out, okay? A lot of wolves in sheep's clothing that are basically going to be found out because they have no responsibility to their tribe, they have no responsibility to their community, they don't basically care. So it might be a slow process of unraveling and discovering that that's who these people are. But by the end of 2024, I feel as though many will have been exposed. I'm going to say something very unpopular here, but hey ho, I'm going to say it anyway. I don't know if I've actually got the picture to show you, but one of the biggest rock stars in the world at the moment, Taylor Swift, I think that the symbolism around her is going to become more and more extreme. I woke up this morning, looked at Twitter, which is one thing I think I might wean myself off actually in 2024, because there's some really dark stuff on there that I don't think is actually serving me, because I know it anyway. I don't know if I need to see it every day served up on my plate, but I probably can't find it now. But it was a picture from a concert of hers, and she's standing on this stage, and there's just these cobras and snakes coming out into the audience. And, you know, people think, oh, well, there's nothing, is it? But it reminds me very much of the Travis Scott work that I did when, you know, people are entering through that mouth into the concert. And I think more and more people are going to start to wake up to the symbolism within music and actually quite what is going on in the background. And it can be presented in a very sugar and sweet way, but actually the truths are going to come out, basically. Truths are going to come out. Anyhow, anything else to say in this video? Let me see. I think I've covered most of what I wanted to say in it. Let's just pull a couple of cards for you now. I also wanted to read you this poem that's from a lady called Patricia Soper. It's called The Nature of Risk, and I think this is very good for all of us as we enter a new year. It's called The Nature of Risk. It says, "What courage each year has the tree to once again birth her leaves, her pink cherry blossoms or delicate dogwood petals, knowing in days, weeks or months they will wither and fall to the ground. So too the crocus or tulip who struggles through the frozen ground, regardless the chance of spring snowfall. Even if warmed, her flower's glory will be short-lived. What freedom to show up, generously share, sure of one's values to earth. Oh, to be like that, to bloom without fear, not clinging to longevity, not demanding guarantee, but to offer our best without expectation." To offer our best without expectation, to not be bound to another who expects something else. I'm talking here business more than anything, you know. Yeah, I think the Saturn energy is really going to set the wolves amongst the dogs, or whatever the expression is. I'm quite looking forward to it. Right, let's pull some cards. Oh, one other thing I saw this morning, going back to this fire energy, Two of Fire. I feel as though there's going to be I was actually hearing a great fire. It felt a bit like, I mean, in the UK, we all grew up with the history of the Fire of London. Wouldn't probably happen anymore in these days there anyway, but there was a fire set alight in a lane called Pudding Lane, I believe, and it swept through the whole of London and created a lot of damage. And I believe that the Plague of London followed, did it? Was the Plague of London after the Fire of London? But anyway, I'm shown a great fire. I don't believe it's London. I'm wondering whether it could be South Africa. But that is just a wondering, okay? I'm not being told it's South Africa, but when I saw the fire and I heard the words great fire, I started to think about South Africa. So that's the connection. I might be wrong. It might not be South Africa, but it could be. The more I'm tuning into the energy of it, shanty towns, and it could be something that happens to really shock the world in terms of that. It does feel like it's a shanty town type energy. If it's not South Africa, it's somewhere else. Could be India, but I'm being drawn to South Africa. Okay. Anything else to say in this particular video, please, Metatron? We have, okay. Two major arcana cards. This is the Tree of Life Oracle by David Wells. Sorry, I'm going to leave in a minute because my voice is going. But we have the Fool, path number 11, and we have the Wheel of Fortune. There is an expectation amongst some that this year's going to be a bit like last year. You know, nothing's changing. There is a lot that's changing. The Wheel of Fortune, in this card, you can't see the wheel turning. It's actually turning. Looks like it's almost like inside a mountain or something. It's turning inside the mountain. It says fortune, quest, and abundance. And we have the Fool, a leap of faith, freedom, and trust. I really feel that for those people that are willing to take a leap, to place a bet on themselves, that I can do this, no matter what, no matter what's going on in the world, I'm going to keep focused. I'm going to be committed to what I want to achieve next year. It can be a year of extraordinary strength, but we do it amidst the mud, basically. It's like the lotus is what I'm being shown. We can be like the lotus flower that blooms next year, 2024, but we're going to be blooming through the mud, okay? We're blooming through the mud, through the adversity, through the difficulty, through the challenge. I also am picking up this energy of independence and sovereignty, which is doing it despite what others say, doing it no matter what, leaving the crowd behind, but definitely a year of work as well. Okay, let me just go to Metatron to finish, and then I will finish for now, and I'll come back when I'm feeling a little bit stronger to do a few more predictions, okay? So let's just end with Metatron. This is the Flame Connection and Attunement Spray from Metatron 2024. A year of unparalleled opportunity for those that seek to dig for the gold, to pan for the gold, to hone the diamond, to forage, to hunt, to seek the greatest depths within themselves, to tap into resilience, unawakened power, portals of wisdom, aspects of truth, your truth, to set yourself free from the limitations and cage of your own mind, conditioning, and time. That you can break free from your time. That you can break free. That you can break free. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much to everybody that's listened. Happy New Year. And I'll be back ASAP. Lots of love. Please like, share the video. Thank you. Bye-bye for now. Bye.